everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Everything Went Black podcast. The Addams family have returned. They are a group of people that I really enjoy speaking with. Filmmakers, musicians, all around solid people. This time around, we're discussing their brand new film, Mother of Flies, which is currently making the festival run, and shortly we'll have some distribution, so keep your eyes out for an excellent horror film. As you all know, Everything Went Black is a member of a loosely organized cabal of content creators known as the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. Kicking things off every other Monday, we've got Brandon Legion's Horror Wolf 666. Brandon and I are doing a collaboration called The Black Lodge, where we cover in its entirety the entire Twin Peaks series. All 3 seasons, Firewalk with Me, and all the ancillary books that have been published. So strap in, it's going to be a fun ride. On Tuesday, Jackie Smith brings us into the Necrosphere, the finest extreme music podcast in the land. Wednesday is a double shot. We've got Everything Went Black plus Cheyenne's Iblis Manifestations. Thursday, as well as being Necro Thursday, where you can enjoy the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast, you also get day 1 of Soul Knocks, brought to you by Carl Hikara. Friday, Spitball Media comes at you, an irreverent pop culture podcast. Saturday's a day off. We're in the middle of October right now. Great time of year. Go out and enjoy yourself, because on Sunday, Carl Hikara returns with day 2 of Soul Knocks for all things dark, sinister, macabre. Carl and I are also doing a collaboration called Darkness Weaves, where we cover the work of Carl Edward Wagner. And we've started out doing the weird fiction and horror stories. We've worked our way primarily through all of the Kane stuff. We're rounding it out with the final Kane novel called Darkness Weaves. And we've uncovered some further short stories that we're going to be getting into. If you're listening to the show, thank you very much. It's been a long-term passion project for me. If you want to support the show further, you can join the Everything Went Black Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to the bonus material. For $5 a month, you get the bonus material plus early access to the shows. And for $25 a month, you can become a sponsor. Greetings, friends, and welcome back. It's been a while. And you guys are on this relentless journey of putting out movies and making movies. So it's awesome. You know, I like that that hustle that you guys have. Yeah.
It's the way of the shark. If you stop, you die.
Yeah. The last time we spoke, it was I think Hellhole was the movie that we kind of were discussing, and you guys were promoting that. And so now Mother of Flies is doing the festival runs now, right? And the difference between those two films is Hellhole was made in conjunction with another studio, right? And Hellhole was like maybe the control was a little bit different, as you do with the Wonder Wheel productions, maybe. And Mother of Flies, if I'm not mistaken, is a Wonder Wheel production. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's very much back to our basics, where not a lot has changed DNA wise since our very first film. Like, we still have our bare bones, family crew, but we've evolved over the years happily. But yeah, it's very much our family joint.
Thanks for sharing the screener. I was able to watch most of the movie between last night and today, which is good. I still have like maybe 20 minutes left in the film, but I got the gist of it. And it's like each move you guys make, it just seems like things are exponentially improving as far as like narrative, the way the movie looks, on the whole. It's like, I just can't give you guys enough praise on that, honestly, and I like that. I like the sort of intimacy of this film particularly because it's a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of shots with landscape shots, and it's only essentially the three of you in the film. There's some ancillary characters, but those are some of my favorite movies that just have a small cast, a lot of dialogue, setting, and slow moving, and it just really, really hooked me in.
Well, thank you. We love filming it. And we really told a story that we understood and that we wanted to tell.
From what I got from the film so far, is that it's sort of like a meditation on death, but also how life and death kind of exist in the same plane sometimes. And really, you can't have like the darkness without the light, And there's an interesting line in the film that I thought was really cool. Like, delivers her the meaning of life. Death delivers her the meaning of life, and that's right when you know they're doing the healing process, so starting that, and that resonated with me in a lot of ways because of like the nihilistic sort of viewpoint. There's two ways of sort of going with that, where it's like if life is meaningless, then like what's the point of living? That's one aspect of it. And the other aspect is like if life ultimately doesn't have any value or significance in the cosmic sense that empowers you should embrace the time that you have and exist more in the moment and sort of gives like a celebratory expression of what life is versus, the non-life, the non-living aspect of things. So I picked up on that. So the was there any kind of you mentioned was there like a personal angle to this film? Was like, something happened in your past that sort of drove you into writing this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is a movie about our cancer experience. Now,
Yeah.
we're not trying to fucking, have a rainy parade here. What this movie is about is about love of life.
Yeah.
It's about love of family, and it's also about love of death. And people like to say, humanity likes to say, oh, there's going to be life after death. But, you know, probably, and what really is going to happen is there's going to be death after life. But we do know what life is like. And so there's every reason to fight like hell for it because death is coming and that's okay. Like one of the problems that I think humanity's made is making that thing that we don't understand, death that surrounds life, a bad thing. It's a bad thing. It's something to be ashamed of. It's something to be scared of. It's something to and this movie's about understanding I have a chance here to live and I'm going to make the most of it. And when death comes, I'm going to make the most of that too.
Yeah.
And the whole movie is about the beauty of both sides of that. It's pretty unorthodox.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's got a very unique message, because like you mentioned in like our society that we live in right now, especially now with like this very bizarre Christian bent to things where this material world is almost like this fleeting passageway into this perceived afterlife, this like idealized world of ether and dreams and things like that, and people tend to live these kind of subjugated lives because they believe that something better is on the horizon, but that is like a falsehood that I feel like organized religion sort of puts out there on people to control them and whatnot. And the idea that the moment and life and living in this moment and enjoying everything is almost this like wild concept that people want to subjugate because they can't control you, And I think a lot of that sort of came to the surface while I was watching the movie, and I'm like, yeah, this is like a slowing down of your perception. I think the fact that the movie has this kind of brooding, vibe to it, like it's very slow and atmospheric. It makes your brain slow down and sort of take in these things. Like the scene with the butterfly. Where you know beautiful in death too, as well as in life. And ultimately, the butterfly is consumed too. So it's like this whole meditation on the fleeting nature of life and then the fleeting nature of just existence because your material form becomes nothing too. It gets consumed or decays and turns into dust. It's like,
And thankfully so.
yeah, you know,
And and that's all, it's all such a rich kind of field to jump off to make a film because who the hell knows? We all there's a mystery, but we're never going to know, what's on the other side of that until we know it, until we're there. So it's a really that liminal space is a rich place to kind of create a story. And in this case, a lot of it is about magic. I mean, you talk about decay, and decay is definitely death magic, and living
yeah,
where we live, we're just constantly aware of that, and it's become a wonderful part of our existence, being aware of just nature and rot and renewal. And it's a fun place to be creative. And there's a reason why we made Solvig a necromancer. I'm not going to give away the ending for
yeah,
you.
don't please. Yeah. Also,
But,
very few people are even able to see this
yeah.
film right now too. So this is like a teaser.
But she's someone who has like a deep and profound understanding, as does Mickey, as someone who's dying, of death. And so necromancy was that was her art, and her knowledge was a really fun thing to play with, and then have all these wonderful conversations with people. I love the existential conversations we're having with so many people. They're all so varied, and it's something I personally love talking about. Life, I like talking about death.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And like I feel like the last few films have like that sort of meditative process too, where it makes you think of the bigger picture as well as the actual narrative of the what's actually going on on the screen, and it touches all these little neurons in your head to excite you to think about these bigger topics.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we love about making horror movies is that we have met so many, the horror community, or at least the part of the horror community that we're really involved with, likes when things cut deeper,
Yeah.
and because that we're all having great conversations that are metaphoric or symbolic of things that are going on in our lives, anything from politics to health to love. And you know, each of our movies is, yes, it's about one specific thing. This is about a necromancer possibly saving a kid, but obviously, as you say, it's also us talking about what we've found to be the meaning of life. And that kind of goes back to your original question. Did this start with something? One of the things about the meaning of life, that whole conversation where she says death has brought her the meaning of life. I remember when I got my call, when you might have cancer, you have to go through a lot of tests, and ultimately they'll cut out a tumor, and then they'll test it, and they'll decide whether it's the science will tell you whether it's what kind of cancer it is, whether it's going to kill you, whether it's whatever. So one of the scariest times of all for anybody who's been through cancer is when they have to wait from when they cut it out to when they analyze it and give you the call. And so it's fucking terrifying because
Yeah.
all of us just think the worst, right?
Of
And the
course.
doctors
Yeah.
always tell you, the doctors always say, like, don't worry about it, it's probably nothing. And you're like, you just cut like a fucking thing the size of an orange out of my neck. So I probably is something.
Oh
So
man.
anyway, like the point is, when my doctor called me, and Toby probably has another story about her experience, when my doctor called me and said, yep, you have cancer, and it's at this stage, and he just laid down the law. I remember, first of all, I was a bit speechless because he was like, "Are you there?" And I had the wind knocked out of me a little.
Yeah.
But what I did remember, what was most important to me was I realized oh my God, this is the meaning of my life. Like, I'm to try to keep it. And up until that point, I hadn't even come close to the meaning of life. And then the depth of the meaning of life just fell deeper and deeper after that phone call. Things that include like wanting to spend every second I can with my kids, wanting to, you know, love Toby so much, wanting to look at the mountains, wanting to love when a salamander runs across the moss. So anyway, I'm going on a little too far, but it started with death basically showing itself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that sort of stark reminder of the finite nature of life, because
Yeah.
I think like you get as you go through life and you get older, in your younger years, you think you're invincible and like, you can, made out of iron, nothing's ever going to touch me. Like everything is, I'm immortal basically,
Yeah.
but then slowly people in your life start falling away and you go through these experiences, and you start realizing that you're not invincible and that you're probably looking at the end of at the horizon and seeing like it's like that's coming for you at someday too, and it's like you're a little bit further, you're a little closer than you might want to believe at some, at certain times. And there's nothing like that realization to kind of make you like, what have I not done? Like, what are the things that like I've been putting off, And
Yeah.
and for me it was getting married. I got married this year, and it was like I could check that off the list. I'm married, you know. And yeah, so it's like, that's sort of puts life in this like very, very stark relief, in some ways. So yeah, it's an interesting, thing to ponder.
Yeah. I mean, something that I think was really important, like a lot of the scenes with Zelda in this as well, are kind of like out of conversations we've had as a family. I've had with John, or we've had with our girls. Um, like some of the conversations Mickey and her dad Jake have are some of those scenes are based on experiences John has had. And for me, like before I had my own experience with cancer, I understood what it was like to love the person who was going through something. And that's something that's equally important. It's an equally significant journey and story that people have, because those people feel helpless, or they wish they could replace. I remember before when I first met John, and it wasn't that long after he'd gone through this, his cancer treatment. I remember having feelings like, oh my God, I love him so much. If only I could just like take it away and somehow be the one who has it. I mean, I remember going through the weirdest narratives. And one time I told John, he's like, that's so fucked up. Don't do that. Like thinking like,
I was like, don't do that. Don't
you
don't start fucking
don't
messing with the ethereal or whatever. Like,
Korea. Nice. What's you got a medicine for that? But yeah, so you go, so it's something that was important for us to talk about. It's kind of powerful and cathartic to have both sides of that in this story. And yeah. And also too, like going back to, it's interesting, John's better at talking about this, but chemo and radiation are kind of death magic as well. It's
Yeah.
strange that give you life. And so they too are a kind of medicinal magic. And you have to kind of believe that your doctor is like, knows what she or he are doing.
yeah,
And
and we're looking like, to me, this is an action movie. Like, yeah, is it slow?
Yeah.
It is. Is it slow? Yeah, I guess it's slow, but to me, it's a fucking action movie. It's a hero movie. It's like a superhero movie and filled with action, and that action is real. And the people that are out there watching it, most of them will completely be able to understand and feel like, oh my God, I know exactly what this girl's going through. I know exactly what this father's going through. They'll know what Solveig's going to. In one sense, we had a lot of fun by making science magic. Science in this movie is magic.
Right.
Going to the best doctor of all, who understands a science of a cure. The cure is going to be just as vicious if they pull it off as the one that all of us are used to, all the other people that are going to watch this movie. And that's what we're finding. Like, yeah, everybody, that watches the movie is like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know what it feels like to have a big hole burnt in my belly, or, just all these things. So to me, it's an action movie that celebrates the heroism of going through these experiences,
Yeah, yeah. There was the scene with the tea was actually did make me think of chemo.
Oh, yeah.
Where you want a cup of coffee, black coffee, right? That scene actually is really funny, and there is humor in the film too, which is great. I like that there's like some good, subtle humor in there. And
Yeah.
it's always good to laugh in like these grim circumstances.
Oh, you have to. That's, yeah.
But yeah, your character is like, yeah, I can go for a cup of black coffee, and and Toby's character Solvig is like, well, how about a nice cup of tea? And you're like, oh, okay. And then she comes up with this concoction of like, well, hemlock root, right, and some other materials from the woods, and you're like, isn't hemlock a poison? And
Yeah.
when you said that, I was like, yeah, it reminded me because like there are people that in my life right now that are dealing with cancer,
Yeah.
and they went through one of them went through a period of being cancer free, then the cancer came back. And I remember the chemo process, and I was thinking the same things about death magic, and like sometimes you have to get close to death to like come back to into the light, the world of the living. And so that also is like, oh, that's like almost like foreshadowing, like the hemlock scene. And it's all
100%.
and it's also funny too.
Yeah, it's funny and it's a reference to the truth. When I was shooting my chemo, my nurse told me, you know where this comes from, this particular bag of shit that I was shooting. And I don't know where it comes from. She goes, mustard gas. It was discovered from mustard gas. And so, what chemo does is kills everything that's fast dividing, right? So basically, you're taking a poison that's killing you and killing cancer. And whoever wins the race, the other side loses but stays alive. So like you want cancer to win the race. Like you want it to divide the fastest and get killed the most, right? And so it's very funny. It's all these really hilarious upside down concepts of racing to the death, hoping that cancer wins. You
Wow.
understand? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
am I explaining myself right? Because it's like all fast dividing cells get killed first. So if your cancer is vicious, chemo is very effective.
Wow. That's heavy, man.
All just super trippy shit, and it is hilarious.
And like Mickey's cancer is a reproductive one. It's like in her womb, her uterus. That's the
Right.
kind of cancer I had. And so a necromancer is taking a death device like a tumor and then kind of bringing it back. Well, I'm going to ruin things. I'm not going to say anymore.
No, but it was fun.
But
we can talk about necromancy because Toby and I read a lot about the necromancers of history, and they're wonderful because of the different ways that necromancers work and the different myths about necromancers. And the funnest necromancers are the ones that trick death. They're, that's why there's references in a sense to like almost like the whore or the like these, because it can sway death with its sensuality and with its like it can like distract death with sexuality and with sensuality and with warmth and love and poetry and things like that, so that death isn't paying attention, so that it can trick it where it's not paying attention. So it's really fun because in necromancy, it's not like being a witch. It's a whole different type of magic. And so it was fun for us to do a lot of reading about the necromancers of history and try to apply the best lessons.
Yeah, it's pretty killer, like that whole aspect of it, and yeah, not a lot of it's a subject that's not addressed quite the way that you guys address it. You know what I mean? There's like the sort of broad necromancy where it's like focusing more on the horror element of things, like the horrific elements of it, and maybe not getting the actual historical parts right. But after watching this movie, I think I have an even better idea about what the magical part of it is, and how it fits into the world of magic.
Yeah.
Snakes too. I mean, there's stuff in the film about snakes and then and snake embryos, and the symbolism there historically, mythologically, I mean, is symbolically is really fun. And we had access to a really cool, friendly snake, fortunately. And that was a really fun discovery when we got really high off of that when we realized we were going to go into the snake story. It was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest symbols for medicine is a snake wrapped around a stick. It's like,
And it sheds its skin. It's always renewing itself. So it's the perfect kind of like death worker's tool.
100%. And obviously, it comes from Eve, the knowledge. So it's all just references to something that is happening today in America, especially, which is the questioning of science. And, it's convenient to use science when you need to live. And it's easy to dismiss science when you don't think you need it. And like, that's something that, the beginning of the movie kind of sets out, like her neighbors need that science.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that concept is good to surface today in this like sea of purported ignorance and rejection of facts and sort of turning the back on facts and science. So it's kind of cool that that's sort of being addressed a little bit. Did you guys shoot this in New York, like locally?
Yeah, that's our house in the film, just with our wonderful digital effects guy, Trey
I
Lindsay.
was going to ask about the house, man. So that creepy house is like your house?
That's our house, and he's kind of painted in the trees and the
Right.
roots. And then inside, we carried in a lot of lumber. John would put up on the walls, and he'd build those awesome mossy beds and bring in the
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah, the interior was cool. Like it's almost like when you look at the way it was treated from the outside, with the growth and everything, it's like there's this ancient structure that's being incorporated into the earth in some ways. It's being like almost like reclaimed. And like the insides, the way that like the beds are like, you know, it's like this mossy sort of slab. And of course, what a cult movie would be, it would be incomplete without a pile of stones on the outside too.
Yeah, that pile of stones is actually,
They're there.
they're
They're
really,
there. Oh,
yeah, I'm
cool.
a nut. It's part of my, like, I don't do yoga. I stack stones on top of each other. That's like that's when I can be present all by myself. But, well, when you finish the movie, we're going to have to revisit this part of the conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When that shot of the house came up, I actually like I paused the video and I took a screenshot of it because I'm like, man, this is cool. I'm gonna steal this for like some sort of like t-shirt design or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's striking, man. And then the whole nature element and I figured it was you guys filmed it up there. And it's beautiful country up there, man.
That's our front yard, backyard, side yard, river. It's all where we live. Yep.
And Trey added those amazing touches, and he did it super tastefully and genuinely.
Yeah. The movie looks like it actually was shot on film, man, because it has like there's aspects of the film, especially it almost looks like a 70s. I mean, this is just me, like looking at it, and it reminds me of like all those great films from the 70s that you see, like these kind of almost like exploitation style films. But it added to the tone of the whole movie. And obviously, I know everyone shoots on digital these days, but it really did look like it was shot on film. And so you guys, the editing, all that stuff is still done in-house though, right? Like you guys do that all yourselves?
Yeah, so what we did was we shoot on a Canon C70, which is like a 4K camera that shoots nice big fat footage, but it's very detailed and super sharp and, classic kick-ass digital imagery. And we don't love that. And so the first thing that happens is we put it in the computer and then we dirty it up. Just like I dirty it up in color with my kind of color correction. And then when it's all done, so it's still digital, it's still a little too crispy, but it's been colored the way I like it, and it's been kind of dirtied up, which basically means you push the contrast and you blow out the whites a little bit, and so it looks like film that can't handle things, because I like that. And then Trey actually, who's just such a genius, we had learned from Where the Devil Roams that we could do a tasteful job of making things look like film. And so Trey put those final touches of film, like static, but it's very light, but it's definitely taken right off of, we're copying 70s films. So you're nailing it on the head, and I'm really happy.
Yeah, no, it looks cool, man. Especially the scenes in the beginning where you guys are driving in the car. It has like that same like atmosphere as like one of those like great 70s films where yeah, you're like driving it, something is down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And we loved that. Like, I remember when I was filming it, I couldn't wait to dirty it up. I could see it in the camera, but I knew it had to get dirtier. And yeah, it's like we're definitely loving films like Badlands, and those things have a romance to them and a fairy tale quality to them, and we wanted that too.
You're talking about the Martin Sheen film with the Charles Starkweather.
Sissy Spacek and
Yeah, great movie.
Terrence Malick, yeah.
Oh, is that right? Oh, no, that's great.
I couldn't remember who directed that. Yeah, that's a classic movie, definitely. But yeah, it has that look to it, definitely. So you guys have been doing a lot of these, a lot of the festivals, and the Brooklyn one's coming up soon, right?
Yep. October 24th.
Brooklyn Horror.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna. Do you know where it's at? Like, what's the?
It's at the Williamsburg Nighthawk.
Oh, hell yeah, dude! Awesome. Yes. When I lived in Brooklyn, I used to go see movies there all the time. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. I'm definitely gonna come in for that. Definitely.
They're amazing. They're a great festival.
Yeah. That's pretty much the only way right now people can view the movie though, is going to a festival.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there any kind of distribution possibilities coming up?
Oh yeah, so we're gonna do the festival run, and then it's being distributed by Shudder, who we just love having a relationship with them. So this will be a Shudder original, and it'll come out hopefully in early 2026.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. I mean, obviously I have the screener, which I have to finish watching, but this is definitely, I can tell this is a movie that I'm going to get a lot out of on like subsequent viewings. You know what I mean? When you watch a movie, sometimes the first time it's like, oh, this is cool. But then like you realize that sometimes you might have to watch it a couple times to really absorb the full content, And this definitely strikes me as a movie like that, and I'm looking forward to checking it, like finishing it and then also checking it out again, to kind of pick up on these things.
This one's loaded.
It'll probably have a theatrical run as well. If luckily, we hope so, at places like Alamo Drafthouse, the Nighthawk, IFC Center, New York. Those are places we've had in the past couple films, and that'll be really great to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Alamo's awesome, man. There's one, the nearest one to me where we're at right now is unfortunately in Staten Island. The theater itself is outstanding, but traveling through the borough of Staten Island can be a kind of a drag sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's worth it. We recently saw that 28 years later at the Staten Island Draft House, Alamo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was definitely fun. Yeah. The music, we were talking about this a little bit before we hit record, but it's with pretty much with every movie, it's almost like I feel like there's another layer to the music too. And like this time around, I sense this like synthy swell, like these deep synth swells. And so have you been playing around with keyboards, or like what's the story with that?
Yeah, I've always played. Yes, absolutely, and great. Thanks for hearing it. Yeah, you know, as I was kind of saying before we hit record, it's like I've always been a super simple kind of punk songwriter, and I've never really had much lessons or studied or anything like that. But it's funny how over all these years that I've been doing music, it feels like a new layer is coming out now. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's just from playing in my ears and my head wanting a little more. And yeah, so a lot of that you're hearing is it's both keyboards, but it's also like going from like a certain song structure into a new piece of that song structure that adds a whole nother kind of break to the song or an emotion to it. I mean, you could call them bridges or things like that, but I don't know what you'd call them. But it's like I've really had a lot of fun with the keys, with the girls' voices.
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely, the girls' voices are allowing me a whole new place to run around because they can bring me to new notes and new chords inside of progressions. And it's been so fun.
John's been on a great writing kick. I mean, there's a lot of music that's not even in this film that he's just been writing, and he's been doing some really cool new things with like harmony and chords, and it's been really fun to watch. Like there's something both chaotic and harmonious about what you've been doing lately. I think you're on a good roll.
Yeah, and the girls know harmonies. I never knew harmonies. I couldn't have done a harmony.
I don't know anything about that stuff, really.
They actually know. I'll show them a melody, and they both can tell me their harmonies. And I'm like, all right, well, let's record them. It's really fun.
Yeah. I approach writing, at least on the guitar or on any of the music stuff, probably the same way, where it's like, yeah, it's just if someone asks me like, what the notes are, or like, what's this chord progression you're playing? Well, no, it's right here. It's like this.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly right.
No, but I mean, what is you playing? I don't know. It's like this. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, that's me.
Yeah, this is like a Celtic Frost part, And
Right.
if you listen to Slayer, you'll notice a couple of the notes are the same, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's fun. You allow things to kind of appear. It's still, it keeps everything magic and youthful and original.
Speaking of writing, the monologues in the film are they're really compelling too. There's a lot of discussion of like some of my favorite topics like darkness and um so that process of writing the monologues, what is that process?
Well, John and I both were working on the narration and the kind of spell work. Like there's a slight difference between the two. And then what happens in like flashback. We both kind of were kind of going on our own sort of track, and sometimes we would just our tracks would intercept, and we were like, this works for this scene.
Yeah.
And we just were doing a lot of weaving in and out with each other, coming with our own, singular kind of like sound and message. And it was really cool to do with John. We were on a really good, I think, like symbiosis with the writing.
Yeah.
So is it like this one monolithic piece of text that you guys all contribute to and then sort of pick the bits that work, or is it done by scene? Or, that's kind of the thing I think I was looking for, because it's so interesting to me how this whole process comes together in making a film with the writing and all that sort of stuff.
It was more by scenes. Like there were some scenes we talked about, but we hadn't done yet. And I would like write a poem, or I would write a poem knowing thematically it worked for something, but didn't know where it would fit like visually. And John would have scenes in mind, and he'd come in with like certain narration for that. And then we kind of just at the end, we realized it really had earned all of that narration we'd been working on.
Yeah. I mean, it was a whole, the nice thing about doing these kind of poems or
Yeah.
spells is that you can get a lot of dialogue put away in a beautiful way. It's just the same as music. It's like having a song explain something. And like Toby said, we did it all different ways. Some was just written because we knew the theme. And then one of the fun things was sometimes we'd see a scene where we would write the poetry exactly for the edited version of it. There was a couple that we did that was really fun.
Yeah. From a viewer's perspective, like when I listen to when I watch a film that has narration, there's some guy like telling you, in 1949, whatever, something happened here, but it's descriptive in like a very literal way. Okay. But what I really, really appreciate and I like about the type of approach that you guys have for the narration, quote unquote, is that it's lyrical and it's mood oriented as opposed to presenting a process of what's happening, you know? And that for me works so much better because it creates this whole atmosphere that works because a lot of the narration is over a scene that might have like a landscape or some motion going on or like some like thematic element to the film is happening and then this dialogue comes in and I almost hesitate to call it narration because it's more of like a moody like interpretation, and it just works so well with the whole atmosphere of the movie too because it's like it's almost the film itself is like almost timeless, like it does you can detach this from any kind of timeline and it works. You know what I mean? So the narration is just like this like another element to create a feeling and an emotion, and it's yeah, it's like it's very much like you guys have like a very musical, like it's like more connected to songwriting and that kind of thing in some ways, and that's I like music. I like to play music, and that's why I think it resonates so much with me.
Thank you. I mean, I really do think of the narration as a kind of music because the actual music in the film, there are only five Hellbender songs. John has other kind of music kind
Yeah.
of going through it. There are only five specific, very kind of pointed songs that work well to carry on, the message of the movie in certain places. But otherwise, it's much more reserved musically. And I think for John, compared to our other films, and I think of the poetry and the spells as definitely a kind of music as well. They serve the same purpose that we usually, kind of inject our music in there.
So before we started, we were talking about Hellbender records, so the Hellbender soundtrack sold out. There's like some vinyl versions of it. And then, obviously you can go out and get it digitally. So is there any, you know, plans on doing more of that kind of stuff? Because I really, really would love to have for my own personal collection more Hellbender records, with like cool artwork and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
You know what? Somebody told me that Arrow put out vinyl with the stylist of their soundtrack.
Oh,
And that
huh.
is something that I would love if
Yeah.
when I would love to work with somebody like Arrow or Shutter or whoever it would be, where we could put out like the Blu-ray
Yeah.
accompanied by the vinyl, and it'd just be like that'd be so fun because then like you could bring in at the outtakes, and you could even do what you were saying, like especially in a movie like Mother of Flies. There's only five songs, but people who like our soundtracks might like all the ethereal
Yeah.
sound design in there, and it would
Well,
be and that'd be so fun. And like we would love to do that. We just don't know how exactly to do it. We're like broke people, to be honest. Like we can't afford to do like an album.
well, let me just go one step further and say like the Hellbender vinyl sold out.
Yeah, right.
So I
Yeah.
mean, like that to me, that says that people want to buy the records. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you
Well,
sold out of a product like that.
that was amazing. And people have been so generous about Hellbender. We love our band and
Yeah.
we love the people that like our band. Again, we're having a great conversation out there with like friends that like our music, and we're communicating.
That the more score elements too. Like the songs themselves are awesome, right? So it's cool. Like all that stuff's great. And I love film scores, and I know there's like a huge like audience for that, and like I listen to like, Tangerine Dream and like Pino Donaggio and like all these people, you know what I mean? And I think like I yeah, I think I'd like to have that music, you know? Like I can just picture Mother of Flies original film score, right? It's got like the album cover has that your house on it with like the
Yeah.
overgrowth and the pile of stones and everything, and that's, and it's written in some cool font, across like the top. Then it's a gatefold, there's more pictures of the local area, maybe with like that some sick shots of like Toby with her, her hood and
And
cape
her
on and everything,
rottenness.
and the
Yeah.
rottenness,
You know,
and that's what I think I need that.
well, you're awesome. And
Yeah.
and like statements like that are inspiring because it does put the weight in the balance of do it, you know.
Yeah, dude. I
The other thing
see it.
that,
I can see it in my mind's eye already. So it
yeah, I think Mother of
exists.
Flies is thematic, is very thematic. I mean, Where the Devil Roams was super thematic for that
Yeah.
too. But it's like Mother of Flies would be really fun. Plus, there's about 25 songs that didn't make it in, because we write like 30 to 40 songs before every
Yeah.
film. And so only five made it this time.
That's what I'm talking about, John. It's like there's unreleased material out there, right? And you have the stuff that's in the film, you got the score, and like it's ready to go, man, in my opinion. And I
Yeah.
have like I can see the physical form. I can visualize it.
I got a question for you, Mike. Like when you're making like your Tombs music, or like your latest Abraxas Horn is super kind of feels like very kind of, I mean, I feel like that could be like film scores as well. Are you ever thinking in that way when you're writing or
Well,
playing?
Abraxas Horn's all Brandon's thing. I just sing on that. So yeah, I mean Brandon loves, I know that he loves film scores and he writes like I think with that in mind. Um like I don't necessarily write visual like with any kind of visual component in mind. There's a couple of attempts of doing more like thematic stuff, Like there actually there's like one or two songs that are on the new album that's coming out in a couple weeks that when I listened back to them when we were going through the mixing, I was like, oh, this could be like, I could see the mist rising and like, like a longboat cutting through, and some guy with a sword or something. You know what I mean? Like I could
Gotta
see
go
all
to
these,
gotta go to the top of Scotland and film it.
like, a battle, like that kind of stuff, like
Got
lightning and
like some
dragons.
Scotch company to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a very visually oriented person though when it comes to like being creative, you know what I mean? So it's like I think of like the music and like the little details and like bits and pieces that are stuck in there, but it's not necessarily like I think when the song's done, then some visual components start coming to me, like when I listen back to things. But when I'm composing something, I don't really think of like, you know, it's all very like internal sort of stuff, like emotional kind of little stories and things like that. But it's more like emotional, a little bit more of like a literary like kind of take on it too, I think. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know.
Are you pressing vinyl?
Yeah, yeah, there's vinyl. I mean, we're working with a label on this record, so they pick up the cost on that, which is nice,
That is nice.
yeah, and then they share the profits with us if there are any. So, I might hopefully I'm still alive, when I can see like 20 or $30 from this. But
You master it or do you send it to someone to master?
yeah, we have a guy that we work with for mastering. Like every record that I've ever played on has been, except for this one, has been mastered by Alan Duchess, who's in the area. He's in
Oh,
New Windsor.
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
You
right,
know,
right on the other side, on the western side of the Hudson
we
there.
used to play soccer over there. Yeah.
Yeah. And this time around, we went with a different guy, more for cost, because we were a little tighter budget on this
Yeah.
record. But Alan's the man. I feel it saddens me that I didn't get a chance to work with him this time around because we developed a friendship over the last 20 some odd years,
Wow.
and like I always loved that was like a whole thing, like going up to his studio. First, he was down in Jersey for a long time. He's from New Jersey, and he moved up to that part of New York on the Hudson Valley, and I started going to his studio, And I would do the attended session, or we'd sit there and drink coffee and like, he'd master the record and we talk and hang out. And he was the guy who actually told me about Beacon, because this is going back like 15 years ago. And he was like, I was like, oh, Alan, I got to get out of New York, that city, it's killing me, like I'm miserable down there. I need to like see the mountains and the river and all that stuff. And he's like, and then I told him, I said, I'm thinking about moving to Wappingers Falls. And he's like, Wappingers Falls. It's like, why there, man? He goes, well, Ace Frehley lives there, and
Ah,
Jan Hammer lives there. And I'm like, I feel like I'm somewhere between like Ace Frehley and Jan Hammer, so they were able to have like a home there. So maybe it's a home for me. So he goes, you should check out Beacon. And I'm like, all right, Alan, I know you're from New Jersey, so you don't really know this area so much. And I was like, I said, when I was a kid, we did a construction project in Beacon, and it was like a really dangerous town, you know? It was
yeah.
like it was the kind of place where we were working, and there'd be dudes like hanging out in their yard drinking like Budweisers with no shirts on, and like
Smoking crack.
was like smoking crack, and there'd be like a concrete like weight set like on the front yard,
Yeah.
and like doing, smoking crack and like doing sets of
Those were my friends, actually.
so yeah.
Because it sounds like the 80s, and that sounds exactly like my friend.
Yeah, dude. And he's like, well, apparently you haven't been through there recently. So he's like, do me a favor, like on the way home. It's like, I know you're gonna go see your parents. So when you get off of 84 and stop in there, get yourself a cup of coffee, like something to eat, and scope that area out. So I went in there, and it was like night and day. It was like completely different,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
So that kernel of an idea of moving to the Hudson Valley started like 15 years ago. Yeah.
Nice.
So, but yeah, Alan was the guy who introduced me to that. Yeah, but yeah, he's up in the area where you guys are too. So
Hmm. He's still Hudson Valley. Where we are is one mountain range over from the Hudson Valley.
yeah, yeah,
So it's actually quite different. Um, and New Windsor's pretty nice. Yeah.
yeah. We recorded in somewhere near Woodstock at this studio called Applehead Studio.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going back a while. Like we recorded an EP there, and it was one of these like live-in. They have cabins and stuff there, and like,
Nice.
that's really cheap, incredible studio. They probably weren't getting much business up there, or so they were really into like the idea of someone coming up there and blocking a whole week out, and that was a really nice time, and that's uh the Woodstock area. I'd never really been there. It was pretty cool up there for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's the nice side. Well, all the Catskills are nice, but that's upscale and kind of fancier and got cool things like studios. This side of the Catskills is starting to be like that. There's a lot of great things here now. It's always been more rural, a little tougher, a little more farms, a little more, but it's great. I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
it's really great for shooting movies.
Yeah, dude, obviously you guys have shot pretty much all your films out there, like, with the exception of the ones you shot in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, and the people are cinematic and the land is cinematic.
And
Yeah.
And
each season just gives gifts, it's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. They're all good.
yeah, and like today we just shot in a trailer and it was gorgeous. It was like amazing. Like every time Toby was acting and I was shooting and it just looked phenomenal. And it's so Catskills. It's like just a double wide trailer, being a trailer in the Catskills. Just incredible.
So I know that you know, Mother of Flies is doing its festival run now, but I'm sure you guys are working on at least three other movies right now too.
Yeah, it's about 3 or 4, but we just started shooting. Like we always have a lot of stuff cooking.
Yeah.
It takes a little. How do you make compote, right? You burn wine until it disappears, right? Is that what it
It's
is?
a reduction, you know.
Okay, whatever it is. Anyway, so no, now we're working on a really fun. We started shooting today. It was our first day of shooting, and it was fun as hell. And it might just have been a rehearsal, like but boy, was it gorgeous.
That's awesome to hear, man. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure like Mother of Flies is like, like how do you look at it now? But it's like, because it's done and it's been done for a while.
Yeah.
So that's part of the past though for you guys now. You know what I mean? It's like a weird thing that happens sometimes when you make something and then there's the time that it comes out, right?
Yeah.
So what are your feelings on that?
It is pretty wild because now we've been at a few festivals now, Fantasia, Fright Fest, and Fantastic Fest. So we've been to three, no,
No,
four. And
for
we four now. We
Origins.
were just at Origins in Tucson. So yeah, so I think I've started to not sit and watch it all the time because I'm like, I think I got it. I usually go in at the end just to kind of take the pulse, see how people are feeling at the end. But it's pretty cool, I mean, we have a way to go because we're going to be traveling for two
Yeah.
months. So
Okay.
it's still very much like it's fun. It is weird because we shot it now a year ago and we're celebrating it now. And honestly, my favorite part of it is the conversations we have, like with you, just about what people take from it. It has been the most rewarding part that I'm really enjoying. It makes it really like valuable to have these experiences with people watching it.
Yeah, I'm with Toby. Like I've learned so much about the movie, the first couple audiences I sat and watched with them. And so the I love that people are enjoying the depth that we wanted to put in it. And that's really important. And it makes me so happy because I'm like, oh great, we're having a conversation with people here. And the other thing is that it's teaching me what I want to do with our next film. And that's always the way it works. We shot Hellhole, and that experience created Mother of Flies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mother of Flies is now creating what we just shot today. And when hopefully you'll like it, and we'll talk about that, and I'll explain what Mother of Flies taught us that we wanted to employ here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the things too that I wanted to ask you guys, and it's just like something that I mean I can relate to when you make something so and then it comes out and can you enjoy the film when you watch it? Like is it something that you can sit back objectively and detach yourself from your involvement with the movie and watch it as an audience member would watch it?
It's such a good question. The first time we watched the premiere, I can pretty much enjoy it because the first time we've seen it on anything bigger than John's computer, like what I'm looking at right now. So that's pretty mind blowing. And I can pretty much go in like, oh, ah. After that, I start taking notes.
Yeah, yeah.
I still enjoy it because I do like the film we made, but I'm always able to be educated by it for sure.
Yeah, I always like the first show. And then it probably takes a whole bunch of years before I can watch it as a movie. And just recently we watched The Deeper You Dig.
Yeah, dude, that's
It was
still one of
so fun to watch.
yeah.
So I was just so distant and far away from it that I just watched a movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because that came out, well, that was like probably shot that like over 10 years ago, I imagine, right?
We shot it 7 years ago.
7 years. Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking about that movie with somebody. I was recommending it to someone. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, no, it's no, of course, dude. It's yeah, that always comes up in conversation, that movie,
Oh, that's
because
great.
there's such like even though women, it's really about like there's a heavy female aspect to it. But there's also like that brooding male aspect to it of it's a subject that comes up I think a lot these days with me when I talk to like younger men about, you know, this like projected adopted stoic sort of stance that a lot of people have,
Sure.
and how that sometimes that stoicism comes from like a place of hurt and trauma and all that. And that character Kurt in that film was like a byproduct of that. Like he wasn't an evil guy. He had just been through some really tough times, which are never really elaborated in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I was talking about with him about the wedding ring. And it's like, it's like, yeah, when you watch that movie again, you'll notice little things about, but they don't talk about his wife. Did she die? Is he divorced? Is he still
Yeah.
married? Are they
And it's,
separated? Like what
yeah,
happened?
it's so disturbing.
Yeah. And it's like, that's like a very yeah, that's like one of the artsiest pieces of that film for me, that this and that's like some of the things I love about fiction where there's no deep, narration about that. There's no kind of like exposition about those things. It's just that, okay, here's these vibes. This is the character. Your brain sort of fills in some of the gaps, and maybe everyone projects their own possible experiences that they might have had. But so everyone's experience with the movie is different because everyone has a different perspective. But they get the same message though, and that's kind of the cool part about that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I spend too much time thinking about these things too.
No, no, no. I love that you're thinking about these things. It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We think about these things.
So as we're speaking, it's October, and we're entering into like my favorite time of year. I'm sure you guys also have the similar feelings about this time of year.
Yeah.
And the Hudson, well, upstate New York in general, the Northeast has stunning autumns. So do you guys do anything special this time of year? Like you guys, any hay rides or like pumpkin patch stuff or anything cool like that?
You like your pumpkin cappuccinos, right? Or something? What is it?
Actually, this is really funny. My wife, right? Uh, she was the one who got me into that stuff. Like when we started seeing each other 3 years ago, right? She's like all in on the autumn vibes. And I love autumn, but like in this kind of Danzig way, you know what I mean? Like, darkness and like, like the veil is thin, kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like this, more like, but she's like, oh, I love pumpkin and I love baking and cinnamon and all these things, right? So like the first autumn we spent together, she was like, she's like, oh, it's autumn. It's time for, I'm down with these like pumpkin spice lattes. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that sounds horrible. Like, it's not even coffee. You know what I mean? Because I'm like a black coffee guy. You know what I mean? I don't put sugar, milk, none of that stuff. You
Stare
know,
at the walls.
you stare at the wall. Yeah. Drink black coffee and stare at the wall. But yeah, I've always been down with that. And then one day she was like, try this. I'm like, nah, get the fuck out of here to try this, man. I took a sip of hers and now I'm like all in. And I look forward
Ah,
to that time of year, pumpkin spice latte, it's that time, man. So we've been enjoying that here
nice.
in the Hill household.
For me, it's cooking. I like to just cook. Like I made it. We were just gone for 2 weeks on the festival circuit. I came back immediately. I'm like, it's time to start making soup. So I'm like a major soup cooker. I love getting I love even cooking like pumpkin. I love
Yeah.
cooking squashes and winter squashes. I love cooking in the fall. I just so that's my big thing. And I love taking walks. We take walks.
Yeah, I love that everybody leaves actually, because in up here, summers are really busy. And what I love about fall, September, like basically the second week in September, everybody leaves. And so there's nobody here. Like I love it. From here until next May, we're alone.
That's awesome, man.
It
That's
is
cool.
wonderful. So the other thing is fall used to be honest, was soccer. The girls playing soccer. So I can't like today I looked out the window and I had to write her high school coach and just be like, I miss you.
Oh,
I
it's
miss
awesome,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, fall's great, man. And it's like we're digging in for some cozy autumn vibes, which is
Yep.
nice, and I'm fortunate. I feel fortunate to be able to enjoy these things because for a large part of my life, I rejected a lot of this stuff. So
Yeah, it's nice to have fun. It's okay to
yes,
have fun. Yeah. It's
yeah.
okay to enjoy yourself.
I think this year I might try to go to one of those haunts. You know what I'm talking about?
I'd like to do that. We're not going to be around, but I kind of
Yeah,
would love that.
yeah.
But
That's
we
that's
don't, oh,
something.
sorry.
Yeah, I've never been either, so I want to check that out.
But what we do when we travel, because we're going to be going to Scandinavia, and they have great torture museums. So basically, whenever we're in like these towns, there's always a museum that's filled with just the worst shit. And this is the perfect season to go look at it.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, up until a couple of years ago, I would be gone during this time of the year on tour, so it's like we kind of pulled back on being on the road a little bit these days. But yeah, so it's nice to be home for the spooky season and Thanksgiving and, family stuff and things like that. So that's good.
It is good.
Yeah. But thank you very much for joining us this week. I'm looking forward to catching up with you guys at the Brooklyn Horror Festival and at one of my favorite theaters, actually, the Nighthawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Really nice to always nice to talk
Always.
to you.
Thanks for listening, guys. Take care.